Welcome to Through the Word, leading you on a journey through the entire Bible, one chapter at a time. Today, Chris Langham guides us in a topical Bible study on love, romance, and marriage. Now to Pastor Chris.
Holy matrimony is the topic today on Through the Word. Sounds a little old-fashioned, doesn't it? Holy matrimony may be an old-time phrase, but sometimes when new ideas fall apart, it becomes necessary to get a little old-school wisdom. Marriage is holy, and if you don't understand holy, you don't fully understand marriage. Holy is one of those words that perhaps has lost meaning due to repeated use. So before we get into the details on matrimony, which just means marriage, let's talk about holy. Holy is a word that the Bible uses to describe God. That says a lot about the word already. God is holy. When talking about God, the word means whole, complete, lacking nothing, set apart from everything else, and pure. Holy means that God is like nothing else that you will ever encounter. His presence inspires awe, reverence, and proper fear. It is truly a fearful and awesome thing to stand before a holy God. The book of Revelation records a worship song that we will sing in heaven. When we see God face to face, the words will be, "Holy, holy, holy," as in, wow, 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 God is like nothing else I have ever encountered. The Bible also uses the word holy to describe those things that belong to God. The temple of God, the Ark of the Covenant, even God's people are called holy. Here, holy means set apart for something special, like the china set that you set apart for special visitors, or the nice suit that you set apart for big days, like a wedding. Or holy is like a ring. A gold band with a simple diamond, discovered in an old and worn-out ring box by a little girl in search of dress-up jewelry in her great-grandfather's house. When she brings it to him to ask if she can play with it, the wrinkled old man turns to her with long memories sparkling in his eyes and deep love in his voice and tells her, "Oh no, sweetie, this was your great-grandmother's ring." And as he tells the little girl an old love story about the day that he slipped that ring onto his bride's finger, the girl realizes that this ring is not for dress-up. It is set apart. It is holy. Now, I have to apologize for that one. I just got done watching a Hallmark movie with my wife, and I think that all the sappy commercials got to me. I admit it, I made up the story about the little girl, but it is a good illustration, as well as being sappy. Marriage, on the other hand, is not sappy. It is holy. Now, marriage is holy because God has made it holy. It is set apart from every other relationship in life, and it belongs to God. A wedding day is holy. It is set apart from every other day in life, a day like no other. Some churches refer to marriage as a holy sacrament. Whether or not you agree with the terms used, we should all agree that marriage is special. Remember from our last study that God created marriage before the fall. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man. The man said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man. That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh." There it is, the first marriage. But why is marriage holy? Because God made it, and God makes it holy. It is His touch on every marriage, His seal that makes the two become one. It's holy, so don't mess with it. In Leviticus 10:10, God spoke to Aaron about what it meant to serve God as a priest. He told Aaron that he must distinguish between the holy and the common, between the unclean and the clean. In other words, you have to tell the difference. You can't treat holy stuff as if it is common and everyday stuff. That's an essential in our walk with God. It is when we forget that marriage is holy, and by our examples teach our kids to treat it as common, then we have lost something precious. When marriage is dragged through the mud of tabloid stories and selfish hearts, when the physical relationship that God has declared to be holy, set apart for marriage alone, when it is taken down like a piece of fine china, removed from its place and treated as common, tossed in the microwave with leftover spaghetti, used and then left in a growing pile of dirty dishes and dirty jokes, then we have lost something precious, something pure and holy. It seems to me that the story of God's design for love and marriage has been cast aside. History became legend, legend became myth, and some things which should not be forgotten were lost. If that is so, then how do we bring it back? Well, we can start by honoring marriage, as we ought to. Consider this verse in Hebrews 13:4. Marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure, for God will judge the adulterer and the sexually immoral. Now there's a good reminder. Marriage should be honored by all. Do you treat marriage with respect, with the honor due to something made holy by God? The verse specifically brings up the marriage bed, which is to be kept pure. Pure refers to hearts and bodies of one husband and one wife with pure 100% devotion to each other and only each other. After all, marriage is a covenant. That's another important old school word. A covenant is a binding agreement between the bride and the groom, a promise made to be kept for life. Now, for the jaded hearts out there, you may ask why God made rules for divorce in the Bible if he wanted marriage to last forever. And what about polygamy in the Bible? Jesus explained to the jaded and doubting hearts of his day that God made concessions for the hard hearts of the people. But from the beginning, God made one man and one woman to become one flesh. The two became one. Every story of polygamy or divorce in the Bible is an honest recording of a true story, and it reveals those things for what they are, a mess. Yes, they happen, but no, it wasn't God's original design. So if marriage is holy, then how do we keep it that way? Or what if we've lost it? How do we get it back? There's a word for making something holy. It's the word sanctify. Sanctify means to make something holy, to set it apart. It's something that God does to his people, but it's also something that you can do in your heart. Consider this verse from 1 Peter 3:15. But in your hearts set apart Christ as Lord. The word for set apart there gets translated a few different ways, but it is the word for sanctify. To sanctify Christ as Lord in your heart means to set apart that place in your heart for a Lord, for a King, and mark it for Jesus. I believe that you can take the same principle to your marriage. In your heart, sanctify your bride as wife, or sanctify your groom as husband. Take that part of your heart that is made to love romantically and seal it. Tattoo it with the name of your husband or wife. One of my favorite stories about my wife also paints a great picture of what this sanctification really means. Andrea and I had just started dating, and I entered into the whole thing without a clue in the world about girls or how to treat them right. I was by no means a Christian, and I certainly did not understand holiness. I was a foolish teenage boy, and I had a room on the second floor with walls covered in posters of women I had never met and had no business looking at. Andrea walked into the room for the first time, and I don't recall her saying anything, but she walked up to a poster, pulled it off the wall, opened the window, and tossed the trash out to the ground below. One by one, they all went down, even the stuff I hid in a drawer. Every last woman was out. My brother, in the meantime, was standing in the yard under my window with his arms up, as if it was raining women. For me, though, I couldn't be happier. My room was sanctified, and in my heart, I was setting apart Andrea to be my one and only bride. And since that time, I have guarded my heart faithfully. I refuse to entertain thoughts about another woman in that way. That's the truth. My heart is sealed. I usually tell that story as a picture of how Jesus enters our hearts to sanctify them, how he takes down every idol that vies for his place and tosses it out the window. But it works in marriage too. Take down the images, whether they are on the walls or on websites. Destroy them. Whether you are married today or not even close yet, the marriage that you will have is holy. Honor it that way. Marriage is to be entered with purity of heart. The beauty of holiness in marriage is seen in a pure heart with 100% devotion. Men, take that door in your heart marked for bride and open it wide to your wife. Let her in and let her fill your heart with devotion for her. Then close up that door and give her the only key and put a seal on the door. Women, you find that door marked groom and you do the same. The Song of Solomon is a rarely taught book of the Bible. Rarely because it is more than a little bit racy. It's a romance story, a marriage story. In Song of Solomon 2:2, the groom says this about his bride: "Like a lily among thorns is my darling among the maidens." Is that a great picture or what? Like a lily among thorns. That's how I feel about my bride among any other women. A lily among thorns. Take a few minutes to read through today's Bible verses. Consider again the holiness of holy matrimony. Consider how you honor marriage with your words and actions, and ask God to guide you in sanctifying your heart. I'll close with one more passage from Song of Solomon, a beautiful and powerful verse about the fire that comes from a sanctified heart in love. Song of Solomon, chapter 8, verses 6 and 7. Place me like a seal over your heart, like a seal on your arm, for love is as strong as death, its jealousy unyielding as the grave. It burns like blazing fire, like a mighty flame. Many waters cannot quench love. Rivers cannot sweep it away. If one were to give all the wealth of one's house for love, it would be utterly scorned.
Join us next time on Through the Word as we continue the journey. Start your own journey through the Bible with our web and mobile apps at throughtheword.org. Our apps are free and free to share, so tell your friends and take the journey together. Chris Langham is the founder of Through the Word Ministries in Diamond Head, Mississippi. You can find information and links for all of our teachers on the website. And remember, faith comes by hearing, and hearing through the Word.